I was in labor for 5 days. We almost got arrested. It was a whole thing. Hey, what's up? This is Jess, and welcome to Pray Gon Shit. Today I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. Girl, I was in labor for 5 days. Let's get into it. But before we do, why don't you like, comment, and subscribe? Support is always free and appreciated. It ain't costing you no dollars. Hit that button and make sure you hit that bell as well so you're notified every time I post something. Let's get into it. Yeah, so if you're like me, you did a lot of research. I was a first-time mom. I was going crazy on YouTube, on all the blogs, on all, searching Google like a mad woman, trying to research and figure out what's gonna happen during labor. I was freaking out, of course, because nobody can really tell you what it feels like, it seems, and it was this whole thing. So that's why I'm doing this one, to let you guys know what can happen or cannot. Of course, everybody's different, but let's just get into it. The key word to this video is prodromal labor. So I didn't even know this was a thing. Prodromal labor is somewhere between Braxton Hicks contractions and active labor contractions. And prodromal labor consists of contractions that can be fairly regular, between 5 to 10 minutes apart, and can be painful like active labor contractions, more than Braxton Hicks. But the key is, they do not advance labor or cause continuing dilation. So my due date was October 7th. 2018. I ended up having him October 8th at like 2:45 a.m. So literally just a few hours after my due date, which is kind of crazy. But I was in labor for 5 days. I went into labor that Wednesday, October 3rd. It was my mom's birthday. So I remember it very clearly. Towards the end of the night, I was having a lot of contractions. They were like 5 minutes apart, 5 to 7 minutes apart. And of course, I did all my research. I was like, girl, I'm in labor. Like, hold on. And actually, I had almost went into pre-labor some months before because I had a bladder infection and I didn't even realize I was like having some contractions and stuff. So when I went to the hospital, they were like, yeah, you were, and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, it's painful, but it's like, I can deal with it. I got a high pain tolerance. So when I started having those on the 3rd, I was like, okay, this must be it. This is what's happening. They were rough, but they weren't like crazy. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just a boss. I got this.
This finna be a breeze.
So I went to the doctor. I went to the hospital actually, and they told me I wasn't even, I was maybe half of an inch dilated. So they sent me home. Now, I was the girl who was just like, no, I don't want to end up being sent home. I don't want to go to the doctor for anything less than labor. I was like, I'm dead adamant about that. I don't want to be like seeming like I'm crying wolf. I was that person. But girl, I went there. They sent me home. I was mad as hell. I went home, and the next day, the contractions continued. They kept going. But so I was like bouncing on the ball and doing all that stuff or whatever to try to see if I could dilate a little bit more. And I made an appointment with my OB. I went there the next day, and she told me I was maybe an inch dilated at that point. So I was like, okay, it's something, but it's nothing, it's still, I got a ways to go. Next day, again, the contractions are being consistent at this time. They're literally all day, every day. It's a little break here and there, but for the most part, it's 5 minutes apart, 7 minutes apart. I was keeping track in my phone, and I'm like, okay, what is going on here? On the 6th, I'm still having the contractions. I'm pissed off. So I'm like, all right, we're just gonna go back to the doctor this time and see. I go back, they do that. And can I just say, when you're pregnant, everybody just sticking their fingers up at you. I don't, it's so uncomfortable when they check your cervix. It's so uncomfortable, girl. And then my cervix was still it was still back a ways, I guess. So they had me lifting my butt up, and they were in there, and I'm like, they're really in there. It was kind of rough. I was like,
Okay.
They checked, like I said, and I was still 1 centimeter dilated. I was mad as hell. I was like, knock all this shit over. Like, I was mad. Like, I was like, really, like, I was looking at the nurse like, girl, it said what? I'm what? Huh? Girl. So yeah, I was mad. They had me kind of like rocking on the ball for a second, and like right before I got sent home, I went to the bathroom, and I swear it was like my mucus plug that kind of came out. So I was trying to tell the nurse again, like, girl, like, things are happening. And they were still like, nope, just go home. You blah, blah, blah. When you're in labor, you'll know. And I'm like, at that point, I was in such excruciating pain that I could barely walk. Like, my mom was with me, my boyfriend was with me. My mom, and actually she had drove up and stayed with me from like that whole week actually. So my mom and my boyfriend were there, and I was trying to walk. It was terrible. We had to walk to the parking garage, got in. We ended up going to Myers and stuff because I think my mom was gonna cook. And like the whole time, like, I really could not, I was struggling throughout that whole story. Like, people were asking me like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm in labor, y'all. It's all right. It's okay. I'm just in labor. It's fine. We got pulled over on the way home from the store. We was riding dirty too. We ain't had no insurance. He ain't have his license.
What's going on? Y'all are going to jail. Period.
He was asking why we were speeding home and stuff, and I jumped in really quick because he ain't know what to say. He was like, man, it's over now. And I was like, no, I'm in labor. No, can you just, I'm sorry, officer, I'm in labor right now, blah, blah, blah. My stomach's huge as fuck. I'm sitting there like, I'm in labor. He was like, oh, okay, well, you guys drive safe, congratulations. And then ran away. I'm like, bitch. And so we just drove home. I wasn't paid, but still, like, you know. So that's just the key. If you get pulled over while you're pregnant, say you're in labor. The more you know. So that night I could not sleep at all. That pain was so terrible. They told me to take some freaking Tylenol PM or something.
She tried it.
Tylenol? Like, you know, while you're pregnant, you can't really take no ibuprofen at all. Like, you just have to take Tylenol nonsense. And I'm an ibuprofen girl. I used to pop those like Skittles for real, and I'm in pain because, I mean, that's the only thing that kind of works sometimes. Advil, ibuprofen, Motrin. That girl said take some Tylenol and send me home. I was so mad. That whole night I was aching. I was contracting, literally just contracting. The next day I woke up on my due date, October 7th. And I was sitting on the couch and I was kind of just aching the whole time. I couldn't even move. And then finally, I prayed and I was like, okay, Lord, I can't do this no more. And immediately my water broke. Yeah, like I felt a pop and then a gush. Yeah, it wasn't a trickle for me at all. It was like a gush, and I was like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? I was like, ah. It kind of did feel like some of that pressure was kind of lifted. It was weird. So of course everybody was running around frantic. Everybody was happy. I was still miserable. My fiance was running around trying to get everything ready. We had already had our bag packed and all of that. My mom was doing stuff. She was trying to grab some of the juices out to show the doctor. I'm like, girl, if you don't move, get you know, try to swat her little hand away. Like, oh. And I, you know, of course I went and put on a pad, and then we went to the hospital. We get to the hospital. I go up to labor and delivery. They put me in like one of the little triage thingies. They stick their fingers up my cooch, and they say I'm 3 centimeters dilated. So that's when active labor starts. So they let me stay this time. They gave me a room. I was like, yes, but shit, this is really happening. And on my actual due date, so it was wild. Got there around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, October 7th. We were in the hospital room. I was going through labor and stuff, but again, still my dilation, it wasn't progressing quick enough for them. So they gave me a bit of Pitocin to speed things along. And mind you, I said I wanted a completely natural birth. I didn't want any drugs. I just wanted like the meds they give you. I heard that you just get like the little meds in the IV. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just try that. But they told me you can only get it 3 times. And after that, they can't give you anything or whatever. So I was like, okay, I got this. I'm just going to space it out, you know. Let me try to maneuver, figure out, you know, the best way to keep these drugs going, keep them in my system, all that good stuff. So I got them the first time. And it made me feel high, really. I used to be a pothead, quite frankly. I don't smoke anymore, but I used to be like a major pothead. So when I first got it, I was like, okay, we a little lifted. We out here. We out here. It didn't really do anything for the pain, but I was frizzled, you know, so I was like, okay, well, I got this. And I was so tired, so I kind of like took a little couple-minute nap. So I closed my eyes. I was resting my eyes, so, you know, I was feeling good. But then that Pitocin started speeding stuff up, so I'm like, oh, this is labor. Like, it got intense. So after a while, I was like, you know what, I've been a trooper enough. Let me get that second dose of the meds. I got that second dose. It ain't do shit. I was mad. So time goes on. I'm like, you know, I get my last dose when I'm maybe like 6 centimeters, only 6 centimeters. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to ride this one out or whatever. I got it, and it literally did nothing at all. I was in so much pain though, y'all. Like I wasn't screaming, but I was just like, you know what I mean? You gotta do that whoo, like you gotta sing through it. You gotta whoo. Don't scream. Like you really do have to breathe through labor or you won't get through it. If you're like clenching up, that sucks. But you have to like breathe through each contraction. Literally look up some breathing exercises. It's so important. I didn't do Lamaze either. I just looked on YouTube because I'm a millennial, I guess. Ain't nobody had no money for them classes, no way. So if y'all watch any of my misadventures, then you know we were struggling while I was pregnant, right up until like, you know, it was literally a couple months before I went into labor that we got our apartment and got everything situated. So, but yeah, you have to like hum through them, like like you gotta dig down deep into your ancestors. I was humming through those contractions, and then once I got to about, it was like 7 to 8 centimeters, I believe, she told me, it's like, look, is that at this point we can do an epidural, or after this you're just on your own. And I was like, no, I don't want to do an epidural. I made such a big thing about, no, I don't want any of the drugs, I don't want to deal with that. But at that point I was in so much pain. And I think it's this thing, like women have this thing about like if I do it with no drugs, then I'm a boss and I got this, and I'm, you know, and I'm better than someone else because they punked out and used drugs and stuff. Like it's kind of this thing. Oh, I had a natural birth, yeah. But you're not in competition with anyone. Like, girl, let that shit go. Like, let it go. If you can't deal with it, you can't deal with it. That shit is tough, girl. And then at that point, like I said, I was in labor for 5 days. 5. It's not the birth that gets you. It's not pushing that gets you. For me, it wasn't. It was labor. It's like literally every few minutes it's just on and on. It's like literally you're freaking flexing your muscles all day for 5 days. Like I was tired, so I was like, you know what, let me just get this epidural. I got it. I was freaking out though. Like at that point the Pitocin had the contractions coming literally every minute. So I really couldn't sit still for it. You can only have one person in there with you while you were doing that. So I had him switch out with my mom, and she held me and she started praying. And I shit you not, as she prayed, like I leaned into her and she started praying, and literally on the monitor, my contractions stopped. My contractions stopped the entire time he prepped the needle. The entire time he was putting it in me and injecting or whatever, it stopped until he was literally done. And then that's when my contraction started back, literally. And he was cracking jokes after that, like, oh, that's really a miracle and blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, y'all know about my guy, y'all better stop playing. Y'all, I'll be playing, I'll be joking and stuff, but that's what I'm saying. It's like I've experienced so many things in my life. It's like I have to believe in God. There's no way I could not believe in God. And you know what I mean? But yeah, girl, my contraction stopped that whole time because the Lord was on my side. Y'all, like, for real, God is real. But anyway, once that was done, my baby got uncomfortable though with the epidural. So like, because he wasn't responding well to the epidural, I almost had to have a C-section. They came in and tried to explain the procedure to me. They put me on oxygen, the whole thing, and I was kind of freaking out. But again, my mom prayed. He stabilized his blood, because my blood pressure, I guess, that went up, and his blood pressure started going up, and some stuff was going on. So I don't even remember all the details, quite frankly. I was so gone. Yeah, at 2 a.m. they started feeling some pressure. They checked, and then I started to push. And John is my, and John, he put on some music for me. he had just held my phone up to me because he wanted to. My mom kind of kept him from looking because he's kind of a queasy type, so we had him just looking at me like, look at her, baby, look at her. She was like, and he started playing some of my gospel, the My Help from Donnie McClurkin, just my song. Well, first he had put on Great Is Your Mercy, but then we put that on. I only pushed for 13 minutes and he popped out, which they were surprised because usually if you get an epidural, the average is like 2 hours. Kegels home to save your life. Then my little dude was born. I have pictures. Oh, okay, before I show you these pictures and I add all of these in here, let me just do a disclaimer. Every single day I was in labor up until my actual due date, I had did my makeup. So I know people gonna be taking pictures, so I was like, you know, I want to make sure I'm cute at least or something. Every single day I was in labor except the day I actually went into active labor. That day I didn't even brush my teeth. Like I woke up in such pain and I was just laying around struggling, and then my water broke and then immediately we went to the doctor. So when I tell you that whole time I was self-conscious and freaking out because I looked crazy. Now that sounds so stupid because obviously I'm giving birth to a baby, but girl, it was a struggle. I looked a mess. Wasn't nobody cared. They were like, you know what I mean, you're fine, like calm down. But I was like so self-conscious. So when I show y'all these pictures and I look crazy as hell, just know. All right.
He's looking. And there's his mama. And there's his daddy. Because he's so little. Looking. Oh no. Hi.
I know.
He's looking
So much more
around.
efficient than the day shift. Oh, thanks, Dr. Zell. I try. All right, one more feeling.
So my son Kai Anthony Morton was born. He was so little. He was 8 pounds 3 ounces. It was like a dream, honestly. It was crazy. It was really, really weird. It was wild. But yes, so that's my labor and delivery story. It was wild. It was long. It was intense. But God was with us and everything turned out good, and my son was healthy and bright and beautiful. He came out eyes wide open. It was everything. It was dope. It really was. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Why don't you go ahead, subscribe. Don't be a whore. We got mommy tips and tricks. We got misadventures. We got cooking videos. Girl, what? Girl, what? This prego and shit, baby. What you doing? What you doing?